The chart given below shows the downstream distance as percentage of the upstream distance traveled by each boat A, B, C, D, E and E on a particular day. It also shows the time taken for the downstream travel as percentage of time taken for the upstream travel by each boat on the same day. So in the graph, the blue line indicates the downstream time as percentage of upstream time. So for A on Monday, downstream time is equal to 77.77 percentage of upstream time. The other line indicates the downstream distance as percentage of upstream distance. So downstream distance is equal to 87.5 percentage of upstream distance, or we can write downstream time is equal to 7 by 9 of upstream time, or downstream distance is equal to 7 by 8 of upstream distance. So from this we can say the ratio of downstream distance is to upstream distance and downstream time is to upstream time. So for A, downstream, upstream, the distance ratio is 7:9. 7:8. The distance ratio is 7:8. The time ratio is 7:9. So from this we can derive this. Then we know the distance ratio, time ratio. From this we can say what is the speed ratio, because we know that speed is nothing but distance by time. So here it will be 7/7 is to 8/9. So this will become 1. So speed ratio is nothing but 9:8. So the speed ratio of A is 9:8. So like that we can calculate it for B, C, D, E and E also. So here we are not going to find the ratios of remaining boats. We'll calculate that when we record it. We'll see the first question. Boat A can cover 612 km in still water in 12 hours. What's the meaning of this? So boat A covers 612 kilometers in still water. It means the water is not moving. It means only the boat is moving. So if you divide 612 by 12, we'll get 51 kilometer per hour, and this is speed of the boat A. Speed of the boat A. Whenever they give still water, you should remember one thing: this is nothing but the boat speed. Still water means it's the boat speed. So 612 by 12 will give you 51 km per hour, and this is boat speed. How much time it will take to cover 486 km downstream and 528 km upstream? So the time taken for boat A to cover 486 km downstream plus 528 km upstream. We know the downstream speed of A is 9x and the upstream speed of A is 8x. So 486 by 9x plus 528 by 8x. This is what we need. And we know the boat speed is 51 kilometer per hour. So remember, boat speed is equal to upstream speed plus downstream speed by 2. River speed or current speed or water speed is equal to downstream speed minus upstream speed by 2. You should remember this. So if you want to find the boat speed, you should add upstream speed and downstream speed and divide it by 2. Here if you add these two things, you will get 17x. So 17x by 2 is 17x by 2 17x by 2 is equal to, we know the boat speed as 51, so x will be equal to 6. So here instead of x we can put 6, so this will become 54 and this will become 48. So 54 into 9 is 486, so 9 times. 48 into 11 is 528, so 11 times. So 9 plus 11 will give you the answer as 20 hours. So the answer for this question is 20 hours. We'll move to the next question. The speed of the current is same on Wednesday and Thursday. So speed of the current means the reverse speed. The reverse speed is same on Wednesday and Thursday. And on Wednesday, both C and D starts from the same point. On Wednesday, both C and D both starts from the same point and go in downstream direction So both are going in the same direction. C, D. Both are going in the downstream direction. The distance between them after 14 hours is 462 kilometer. The distance between them after 14 hours is 462 kilometer. What will be the distance between them after 5 hours when both go in opposite direction from the same point? If from the same point, if both go in the opposite direction, what will be the distance between them? So this is what they have asked for. So how to solve this question? So the first statement is the speed of the current is same on Wednesday and Thursday. So first we will write the data regarding Wednesday and Thursday about C and D. So for C on Wednesday, downstream, upstream. The distance ratio is 8:9 and the time ratio is 8:11. So the speed ratio will be 11:8, or we can say the downstream speed is 11x and upstream speed is 8x. And like that we can write it for D also, right? So for D, the downstream, upstream, the data regarding downstream and upstream, the distance ratio is 114.28%, right? So this will be 8:7. The ratio is 8:7 and time is 8:11 and the speed ratio will be 11:7. Here the downstream speed is 11y, upstream speed is 7y. Here also we should not put x because this is different ratio and this is different ratio. So we have to give here a different variable. So here we took it as 11y and 7y, and here we took it as 11x and 8x. So we don't know the relationship between x and y. Since they gave the current speed is same, the reverse speed is same, and we know that to find the reverse speed, in the previous question I told you that we have to subtract downstream and upstream and divide it by 2. So we can write like this, right? So 3x is equal to 4y. Here it is 9x, sorry, it is not 8x, it is 9x, because here we will be writing 9 by 11, so it will be 9x. So 2x equal to 4y, or we can say x equal to 2y. So here we find the relationship between x and y. So this ratio, instead of 11x, we can write it as 22y, because we know that x equal to 2y is 2. Instead of 9x, we can write it as 18y. So now we got to know the speed of downstream speed of C and upstream speed of C in terms of y. So we remember this. Then both C and D starts from the same point and go in the downstream direction. The distance between them after 14 hours is 462 km. So when C and D travels in the downstream direction, the speed of C is 22y km per hour, right? So 22y km per hour. Then D travels at a speed of, D's downstream speed is 11y. So D travels at a speed of 11y km per hour. So C is traveling at a speed of 20y km per hour. D is traveling at a speed of 11y km per hour. After 14 hours, the distance between them is 462 km. This is what they have given. And we know that after 1 hour, what will be the distance between them is 11y. Because in 1 hour, C will be traveling 22y km, and in 1 hour, D will be traveling 11y km, right? So after 1 hour, the distance between them is 11y. C will be 11y km ahead of D. So 11y in 1 hour, if the distance is 11y km, and in 14 hours it is 11y into 14 is equal to 462 km. This is what they have given. So from this we can find the value of y. So y is equal to 462 by 14 into 11. So this will be 42 by 11. Here 462 by 11 is 42. So 42 by 14 is 3. So the value of y is 3. So now the question is, so now we find the value of 3, we found the value of y as 3, and now we have to find the distance between them after 5 hours when they both go in the opposite direction. So from the same point, they both are going in the opposite direction. I find the difference between them after 5 hours. So here the problem is, here we don't know who is traveling in the downstream direction and who is traveling in the upstream direction. So you take C is traveling in the downstream direction. So C will be going at a speed of 22y km/h and D will be going at a speed of 7y km/h. So after 1 hour, so it means D will be traveling 7y km in 1 hour, and C will be traveling 22y km in 1 hour. So the distance between them after 1 hour is 7y plus 22y. So this is distance between them after 1 hour, but we need it after 5 years. So into 5 will give you the answer. So in case if D is traveling at downstream direction and C is traveling in upstream direction, if we take like that, so the speed of C will be 18 km/h, 18y km/h. So C is going in downstream direction. Sorry, C is going in upstream direction. So if we take like that, the speed of C is 18y km/h and D is going in downstream direction. So speed of D will be 11y km/h. So after 1 hour, the distance traveled by C is 18y and D is 11y. So the distance between them after 1 hour is 18y plus 11y, and in we need it for 5 hours. So into 5. Even this is 29y into 5 and this is also 29y into 5. So we know the value of y, which is 3. So if you multiply these things, you will get the answer as 435 km. So remember one thing, for these kind of question, we no need to know who is traveling in the upstream direction and who is traveling in the downstream direction, because the relative speed will be same for both. Okay, so we can find the answer. So the answer for this question is 435 km. We'll move to the next question. The time taken by boat E to go 180 km upstream is equal to the time taken by boat D to go 440 km downstream. So for D, the downstream and upstream data, we already know that the distance ratio is 8:7 and the time ratio is 8:11. So the speed ratio will be 11:7. This is for D. And for E, the distance ratio is 2:3 because it's 66.67 and the time ratio is 1:2. So the speed ratio will be 4:3. So downstream speed of D is 11x and the upstream speed is 7x. Downstream speed of E is 4y, 3y. So time taken by boat E to go 180 km upstream. So time taken by boat E to travel 180 km upstream is 180 by the upstream speed of E is 3y. So 3y is equal to the time taken by the boat D kilometer to go 440 km downstream. So 440 km, 440 divided by the downstream speed here is 11x. So we can write it as 11x. So or 60, 40, 3x equal to 2y. So this is the relationship between x and y. And when both E and D start from the same point in the still water. So still water meaning is there is no reverse speed, just the boat speed. They go just with the boat speed. If they travel just with the boat speed, the distance between them when they travel for 3 hours in opposite direction. So here both are going in the opposite direction and just with the boat speed. So we know the boat speed of D is 11x plus 7x by 2. We have to add upstream speed and downstream speed and divide it by 2. So it will be 9x. So boat speed of D is 9x and boat speed of E is 4y plus 3y by 2. Boat speed of E is 3.5x. So if you add these two things and divide it by 2, you will get 3y, not 3x, 3y. So when both E and D starts from the same point just with the boat speed and the distance between them when they travel for 3 hours in opposite direction is what percentage of distance between them after 4 hours when they travel in the same direction. So if they travel in the opposite direction, E will be traveling at a speed of 9x km per hour. D will be traveling at a speed of 9x km per hour. E will be traveling at a speed of 3.5y km per hour. So after 1 hour, the distance between them will be 3.5y plus 9x. After 1 hour, the distance between them will be 3.5y plus 9x. But we need the distance after 3 hours. So into 3 is what percentage of? So is what percentage of the distance between them after 4 hours when they travel in the, here it is same direction. So if it is same direction, from the same point both will be traveling at a speed of D will be traveling at a speed of 9x km per hour and E will be traveling at a speed of 3.5y km per hour. If they travel in the same direction, after 1 hour, the distance between them is 9x minus 3.5y. 9x minus 3.5y. So 9x minus 3.5y is the distance between them after 1 hour. And we need the distance between them after 4 hours. So into 4. So into 100. This is what we need. And we know instead of 9x, we can write it as 6x because we know the relationship between 2x equal to 3y. It's not 2x equal to 3y, it is 3x equal to 2y. So we can say 9x equal to 6y, right? So here instead of 9x we can keep 6y. Here instead of 9x we can keep 6y. So 3.5y plus 6y into 3 by 6y minus 3.5y into 4. So if you add these two things, you will get 9.5y into 3 by, if you subtract this 2, you will get 2.5y into 4. This will be nothing but 285 by 100 into 100. So this will be 285 percentage. So the answer is 285 percentage. Okay, right? So we'll move to the next question. The time taken by boat B to go 300 km downstream and 420 km upstream is 11 hours. So we should write the data for B. So B is downstream, upstream, distance ratio is 3:4. The time ratio is 3:5. So the speed ratio will be 5:4. So time taken by boat B to cover 300 km downstream. So 300 by 5x plus 420 by 4x is equal to 11. So if you cancel this, this will become 60. This will become 105, right? So 165 by x equal to 11, x will be equal to 15. So the value of x is 15. So how much time it will take to cover 810 kilometers in still water? Still water means boat speed, just the boat speed. So we know the boat speed is 5x plus 4x by 2, which is 9x by 2. So 810 by 9x by 2 or 9x into 2. So instead of x we can keep it as 15. So 90, then this will be 6 times. So 6 into 2 is 12 hours is the answer for this question. So the answer is 12 hours. The next question is, time taken by boat A to car 432 km downstream is equal to the time taken by boat B to cover 256 km upstream. So we'll write the data regarding A and B. So A downstream, upstream, the distance ratio is 7:8. The time ratio is 7:9. So the speed ratio will be 9:8. For B, the data are downstream, upstream. The distance ratio is 3:4. The time ratio is 3:5 and the speed ratio is 5:4. So downstream speed of A is 9x, upstream speed is 8x, B is 5y, 4y. So here they have given the time taken by boat A to cover 432 km downstream is equal to, downstream means by 9x is equal to the time taken for boat A to cover 432 km will be 432 by 9x is equal to the time taken by boat to cover 256 km upstream. So 256 divided by 4y. This if you solve it, 9 and 432 if you cancel it, you will get 48, and 4 and 256 is 64, or you can write 3y equal to 4x. So the relationship between x and y. Boat B can cover 560 km in 14 hours while going downstream. So it means the downstream speed of B will be 560 by 14 is nothing but 40 km per hour. So it means 5y is 40 km per hour and y will be equal to 8, right? So y will be equal to 8. So if y is 8, if you substitute y over here, 3 into 8 equal to 4x. So x will be equal to 6. So x is 6. The value of x is 6. Then with what is the difference between the time taken by boat A to cover 684 kilometer downstream? So the time taken by A to cover 864 kilometer downstream is 864 by downstream speed is 9x, 9 into 6 is 54, and the A to cover 336 kilometer in upstream, so which is 336 by 8 into 6 is 48. So if you cancel this, you will get 16, this one you will get 7. So the difference between 16 and 7 is 9 hours. So the answer is 9 hours for this. Okay, that's it. I hope you understood the questions. If you have any doubts, please post your queries in the comment box. Subscribe our channel, share with your friends. Thank you.